All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. Welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. We're back again with another live stream, bringing you the latest in Chelsea news. Yes, I do realize we have a game later on. There will be a watch along, no doubts about that. God willing, there will be a watch along, and then after that, there will be a review video. Don't you worry one bit. But I thought this particular live is very, very important, and it'll be interesting to do because Ben Jacobs, late last night, UK time, held a Twitter space which outlined quite a lot of interesting information, and I thought it'll be a great time to talk about it, and it'll be great to see how you guys feel about it, and it'll be great to see how you feel, and then make a good conversation out of it. Now, I can already see quite a few people are saying, "Oh, look, Ben Jacobs, how much can we rely on him? This, that, the other. He's not someone who's completely reliable. He's a tap-in merchant." Look, I think he has some knowledge. I really do, because there are certain things. Look, when it comes to maybe transfers, I don't know how reliable he is in regards to transfer news, but I think he knows someone internally in regards to the owners. If you guys remember, when we went through the ownership change, and there was all that news that was happening during that time, Ben Jacobs was on top of his game. The Rain Group and whatnot, who was looking after the sale of Chelsea Football Club. I think he does have some internal connection to get first-hand information. So that's why I want to take some of these things a little bit seriously. And it kind of makes sense. The way he's presented it, it does kind of make sense. Now, what I want to say, like we're going to go through what was said in the space. We're going to obviously react to it. Not the entirety of it, but bits and pieces that was key. But the biggest thing I got out of that particular space, right? And this is what I want to hear from you guys in the live chat. Over 100 people live already. Smash the like button. Let's get those likes up. Let's keep up with the likes. Let's not slack with the likes, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 100 likes immediately. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. We're so close to 21,000. Thank you so much for the support you guys show me and the channel on a regular basis. Please, let's get those likes up to well over 100. It's going to be a fine discussion. Now, the overall gist that I got out of that space that Ben Jacobs held is that our owners, they are very much inclined to keep Graham Potter. They love Graham Potter. They really do. And there is apparently no rift between the two owners, Todd Bowley and Baghdad Iqbali. Yeah, they're definitely, working as a unit, and they're definitely in the same page. They still want to give Graham Potter all the time possible to turn this around, and they truly believe in him, the long-term project, the vision. They completely believe it is Graham Potter. But of course, they understand the results have to change. You can't keep persisting with the results. And the whole 2 games ultimatum, what Ben Jacobs was saying, it's not really, it isn't actually an ultimatum. It isn't something written on stone, something completely written that, if this doesn't happen, then you're 100% sacked. Because they're not really talking to any other managers. The new owners are right now not talking to any managers. They completely have the faith that Graham Potter will turn things around. So this is the vibe that I was getting. This is the feeling that I was getting. Listen to Ben Jacobs. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, the other feel that I got, and as I said, we're going to go through some of the tweets. We're going to go through some of the things that's been said in that space. Even if Graham Potter doesn't succeed, let's say the next couple of games, Leeds and Dortmund, and the results go south, the results don't go the same way as we expect, the owners are not going to get a manager in the caliber of Luis Enrique or Jose Mourinho or Diego Simeone or even Zinedine Zidane, they are more inclined to go towards a manager in the likes of Thomas Frank, for instance, or Pochettino, someone apparently who's more data driven. And the overall vibe I got out of that is they don't want a particular manager that's going to clash heads with them. They want a manager that is going to be more, as they say, collaborating with them, which personally, I feel like that's a fancy way of saying a bit of a yes man, someone who's not going to be, spitting the dummy out if there's something wrong, someone who's going to be, as soon as there's some adversity, they're doing a madness in the press conference, much like, Nathan Jones in Southampton, what he did. Jose Mourinho has a bit of a history in the press conference to be outspoken. They don't want a particular manager who's of that caliber, who's going to challenge them. They want a particular manager who's going to listen to them and try and compromise with them. And this is why, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I feel like this. With Graham Potter, and yes, there's been injuries. Yes, there's been some new figures, and maybe there were some injuries in the defensive line, and this is probably why he stopped doing the three at the back. But we've seen reports, we've seen journalists come out and say that our owners, they've wanted a four at the back. And I get the feeling, I don't know whether Graham Potter always wanted this, right? And looking at his time at Brighton, he was predominantly a three at the back manager. That was his thing. But now he comes to Chelsea Football Club, he's having to do four at the back. Now that the the centre backs are back as well from injury, we're still persisting with two at the back. So that's one thing. The other thing is all the different players that's been brought in. I don't actually think it's all been consulted with Graham Potter, to be honest. And, having a bloated squad like this, not being able to get rid of so many players that should have gone in January, I don't understand which manager would want a bloated squad like that, which could have a detrimental effect, right? Yes, in one hand, we have a situation where it's great to have all these players. Fantastic. But then on the other hand, it's a trouble as well, because now Graham Potter is having to juggle all these players, and there are some disgruntled players, and which then causes a lot of issues. So I get the feeling they're looking for a particular manager that's not really going to backchat too much. Don't backchat. Yeah, we will listen to you. Of course, we'll listen to you. But at the same time, we have some desires. We have some wants. And I don't want you to backchat. So, managers like Enrique, managers like, I don't know, whether Flick is like that, I'm not really sure. Jose Mourinho definitely will backchat. These managers may not be fancied. I don't know about Flick. Flick, maybe he won't backchat. But I'm also certain Flick is a top manager who doesn't want, any interruptions. Do you know what I mean? And I'll tell you why I'm saying this as well. Let me showcase to you. Let me showcase to you a particular, we'll come back to this. Let me showcase to you why I feel like this, what makes me think like this. First of all, Alex Abhishek Matthews, thank you so much for the super chat. Finally revealed Todd has accepted that we can't even become a Brighton. Let's try and become Brentford at least. So yeah, it's crazy. He really does like Brighton and Brentford, man. He likes Brentford a lot. He loves the way Brentford is run. It's been stated a long time ago when the new owners came in. He likes Thomas Frank. So, that's where they're going. This is the particular tweet. This was said in the space yesterday by Ben Jacobs. This is what makes me think, they want a particular manager that's going to be listening to them a lot more. Thomas Tuchel kept getting dragged into recruitment and strategic meetings. The fact his phone kept buzzing and there was a WhatsApp group chat was a bit of a sticking point with him. I mean, our owners want to be so involved with the managers. They want him to be part of the recruitment, strategic meetings, like tons of meetings. I mean, when's the manager actually going to coach then? I'm starting to think Graham Potter probably doesn't have enough time to even coach. In Graham Potter's case, apparently Kyle McCauley does, attends most of these meetings, and he's the middleman who acts as a bridge between Graham Potter and the owners. But still, WhatsApp group, WhatsApp group. I can imagine why someone like Thomas Tuchel probably saw all this and thought, well, what are you doing, man? Let me coach. Let me manage the team. That's far more important. You handle it. I get it. At that time, the new owners needed some help. But this is the thing. The new owners should not have got rid of Marina and Peter Cech so quickly. You should have kept them on just to see you through. But I definitely feel like they want a particular manager that's going to agree to all of this stuff, right? So now let's look through some of those conversations that Ben Jacobs had. Luis Enrique isn't viewed as the right fit for Chelsea. Look at this. Luis Enrique isn't viewed as the right fit for Chelsea, ladies and gentlemen. He's not viewed as the right fit. A serial winner, an elite manager who's cleaned up everything at Barcelona. And even at an international level with that Spanish team, which honestly, especially the Euros, was not good enough. Even in the World Cup, that Spanish team was not good enough. But in the Euros, how he managed to churn out the level of performances that he did with that Spanish team, he must be applauded for that. But apparently he's not viewed as the right fit. They are also not talking to any managers at this time as they continue to back Graham Potter. So all of this stuff about, the next two games, Leeds and Brentford. Shubra is saying, let me just bring this up. This is interesting. I think this will create a good conversation. Why did Ben said that reason? He said that they're not looking for that type. They're looking for more of this type. Let me bring this out. This is why, Shubra. Chelsea were very impressed with Ruben Amorim. This is the Sporting Lisbon manager. Before they hired Potter, Thomas Frank is someone that the owners might see as a good fit. Very data-oriented. Pochettino could come back into the mix. They are still hoping Potter turns things around. Pochettino was apparently approached before Potter as well, and he didn't accept it at that time. But data-driven. You've got to be very data-driven. This is one of the reasons. Thomas Frank, apparently for Brentford, is very data-driven. The other reasons, as I said, being dragged into recruitment and strategic meetings. You're going to have a WhatsApp group. Basically, the owners want to be on top of the manager 24/7. And Luis Enrique probably not going to like that. And this is why they think he's not a right fit. It kind of makes I want Luis Enrique, but what Ben Jacobs was saying, it makes sense to me in the sense that the new owners are looking for another yes type of a man. They don't want a manager that's going to be butting heads with them. They don't want that. They really don't want that. This is my belief. I could be wrong, but this is my belief. Further on, Pochettino was not sold on Chelsea's original manager surge back in September. He was not 100% convinced at the time of the pitch. He's in the frame now. Pochettino's in the frame now. And in all honesty, I don't want Pochettino. But Pochettino's another one. He worked out with Daniel Levy. Do you know what I mean? If you can work with Daniel Levy, then you best believe you're probably going to work with our owners. Let's see what you guys are saying about this before we move on to the next part. Thomas Frank, from Brighton to Brentford, mediocrity, never a way forward. This is Thomas Frank for me. Yeah, he's a good manager at Brentford, no problems. But yet another manager that we linked with that doesn't have a history of winning, not won anything. And I don't understand why we're going with these type of managers. But I kind of get it now. The owners don't want any elite level managers because they're going to talk back. Can you imagine if the owners got Jose Mourinho and Jose said stuff to them and chatted back? They don't want that. They really don't want anyone chatting back to them. If they don't appoint elite coach, then I should end my 12-year relationship with Chelsea because I have no power to live in toxic culture. This toxic culture destroy my mental health. Let's see what happens today. Roman done his job mostly from Russia, comes to UK when the team not performing and kept trust on the board. We will not win anything without someone competent. That's how I feel, man. That's how I feel. Like, the level of project that Chelsea are doing, the level of project that we're doing, the money that we are spending, I find it strange that the owners are not giving it to a manager that actually has a CV showcasing a lot of wins, a lot of titles. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're spending all of this money and you're bringing in managers that don't have the history of winning titles. I find that very, very bizarre. I really do find that very bizarre. Arash, thank you so much for the super chat. Frank, to this club, CFC lost their elite outlook. I agree, man. I agree. Nicole, Bowley bought wrong club if he's looking at those managers like Frank. Yeah. Frank, Thomas Frank, Amiram from Sporting Lisbon. I don't know what sort of winning background he has. I'm not sure. But yeah, like, any elite managers seems like, they're not really fancied. I don't want any coach who has coached any Premier League team. Look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they've managed any Premier League team. I'm more concerned about, have they actually won anything? Do they know how to win titles? Can they manage egos? Do they have some level of character, personality, a charisma about them? Has their in-game management? Are they someone who's going to be able to have control of the players? Because right now it seems like there is no control from Graham Potter. There is no control. We're the new Arsenal for 10 years, banter club, mid-table managers. I believe these players will catch the loser mentality and lose interest in CFC and will want to go to other clubs with world-class coaches. Yeah, look, this is why we're hearing some, big players. There's some rumors coming around that there's a lot of players that are looking to leave. Kovacic being one of them. Mendy is another one. There's been, names thrown in the likes of Raheem Sterling, Mason Mount. Seems to be another one as well who can't seem to strike a deal for his contract extension. So yeah, it's not completely far-fetched. It's not completely far-fetched at all. Okay, let's have a look at this. Chelsea have certain clauses in Potter's contract. As Potter's in into the job, Chelsea would have to pay something out. As Potter's new in the job, Chelsea would have to pay something out. Finances are not a stumbling block from parting ways. And this is what I said. Look, they completely believe in Graham Potter. They really do. The reason being is they have a long-term plan. Their long-term vision, their long-term operational plan, they believe Graham Potter completely fits that. They love the collaboration with Graham Potter. They love Graham Potter's attitude. They love Graham Potter's involvement, heavy involvement in strategic and planning and whatnot. That's the kind of manager that they want. But they're forgetting that players, at the end of the day, want to be managed by elite managers, want to be managed by managers that have won stuff. Can you imagine? Like, it would be difficult. Some of these players, they're Champions League winners. We've got Premier League winners in our squad. We've got World Cup champion, the likes of Enzo Fernandez. And then you have someone like Graham Potter coming in who hasn't won anything. Some of these players will definitely doubt a caliber of that type of a manager. He may be a nice person. This is why all the PRs coming out. All the PRs coming out from the players saying, trust the process. Koulibaly saying he's a great manager. But not that long ago, The Athletic also commented that some of these players think, yeah, he's a nice guy, lovely, personable individual, but we also know he's not going to win anything. He does not have that mentality to win, that ruthlessness. Sure, he might have come from Ostersund, and then he's gone to Swansea or wherever else, and then has done well in Brighton. But maybe that's the level. He does not have that cutting edge to win titles. This is what some of the players are thinking. So you can have a manager that may be a good fit for the owners, but that manager will need to have some background of winning stuff. At the end of the day, these players don't want to just come into a club that's well run. They want to come into a club that is a serial winning club on a regular basis, picking up trophies. Because a player's career is not that long, man. It's a very short career. If you're a successful player, then you can probably go for about 10 years, 10 to 15 years. And your prime is probably about max 4 years. 3 to 4 years is your prime. Right? Majority of the players, unless you're an exception. So these players, they want to win stuff. DK, thank you so much for the super chat. PR Jacobs at it again. Fab said Leeds is a final. I hope it is. I hope it is. But Ben Jacobs also said, if we don't win, so if it's a loss or a draw, don't be surprised if Graham Potter doesn't get sacked, because Dortmund game is just around the corner. He may very well still stick around for the Dortmund game, because what's the point of sacking Graham Potter if he doesn't get the positive result against Leeds? Literally a few days later, it's Dortmund. Which new manager is going to come in? And they've not even started talking to any new manager. So I'm starting to think, even if it goes south today against Leeds, Graham Potter is going to be the manager for us against Dortmund. And Dortmund just won again last night. They're on 10 in a row winning streak. And we're on 2 out of 16. Potter is just so much responsible. The owners have put us in this misery. We will suffer a lot until the owners have a reality check regarding the fans and players. The one thing that Ben Jacobs did say, that the fans are not unaware. They see that there's a petition to get rid of Graham Potter, and apparently there's 50,000 votes. They see all of that. So they can't keep ignoring it. And obviously they can't ignore match-going fans if they keep booing. Like, if we don't win today, you best believe the match-going fans are going to give it to Graham Potter and the team. The owners will see that. The owners will 100% see that. And that's going to be a problem. But in the space, Ben Jacobs also said that, look, getting rid of Graham Potter is not going to be an issue. The financial aspect of it that we are thinking as fans, that seems to be a massive issue in our mind. Apparently, that's not going to be the big stumbling block. They can get rid of Graham Potter. They can financially get rid of Graham Potter. That's not the issue. The issue is they're going to look like a laughingstock because they completely believed in Graham Potter for the long run. This is why they gave him a 5-year contract. This is why they gave him a 12 million a year contract. Because they've set out a vision for the next 5-10 years, and they completely believe Graham Potter is the guy. So for them to get rid of him now, they're going to have to readjust their long-term plan and their vision. That is the problem. Financially is not the problem. Financially is not the problem. You know what? With these mentality, I actually do believe if Klopp or Pep was available, they wouldn't go for it. They probably wouldn't. Do you know what? They probably wouldn't. They probably wouldn't. Because you're right. What manager will come in if you sack him after Leeds? You have no time to prepare for Dortmund. No. It's going to be Graham Potter. Even if the results don't go our way today, it's going to be Graham Potter for Dortmund. Because maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see any differences in playing style or tactics between Potter and Frank. Makes no sense. I think Frank is more direct, isn't he? Look, don't get me wrong. Brentford do play out from the back. Brentford do play some good football. Like, they're not just direct Burnley style. No. They can be direct, and they play direct football really well with Tony and Mbuemo and a few of the other players that they have. But Thomas Frank is a good coach. He's a good manager. But that's Brentford. Can you manage egos? Can you manage this big squad? Can you manage, players that are going to be disgruntled? And can you manage expectation? In Brentford, if you have 3 losses in a row, you're still going to keep a job. At Chelsea, as soon as you start having 1, 2, if you're having 3 in a row, you're going to be in big, big trouble. Can you handle pressure? This is why the elite managers are elite. And this is why the mid-table managers are, mediocre. I do not understand these owners wanting back 4 or back 3. There is too many other factors to formation and playing styles which the owners don't know. They should not butt in these matters. 100%. I just want the owners to just concentrate on making sure that the club is run well and there is a good direction, making sure that you've got the right personnel in charge, looking after the footballing side of things, making sure from a financial standpoint, the club is in the right place, marketing, sponsorship, this, that, the other, fans, connection. But when it comes to starting lineup, questioning starting lineups, questioning formations, stay out of it. You don't know all of this stuff. You think you know, but you don't. Leave it to the expert. That's why you got yourself a manager. And I feel like our owners, they do put their nose into matters where they really shouldn't have to. The owners just need to put expectations on the manager. They should just give what is expected. And if they can't meet expectations, then make a decision. The owner should just say, look, your expectation this season is, let's say, top 4. Or it may not be top 4, because Ben Jacobs was also saying that the owners understand that there's been a lot of injuries. There's been a lot of new players coming in. And, it's been unsettled with all the different personnels that we brought into the club in the board. So owners understand that it's been unsettling. And they want to, this is another reason why they want to give Graham Potter a little bit more time. They want to be a lot more patient with him, because they feel that Graham Potter apparently hasn't had enough time to have a settled 11. But Graham Potter himself keeps chopping and changing. He can have a settled 11, but he keeps chopping and changing. Do you know what I mean? Last weekend, Badiashile was dropped for Koulibaly when Silva and Badiashile were working really, really well. Sometimes we have Cucurella, sometimes we have Chilwell. Sometimes you've got Ruben Loftus-Cheek in midfield alongside Enzo. Sometimes you've got Kovacic. So he's got to be able to settle 11. And now we only play 1 game a week anyway. Yes, the Champions League one's coming on, but generally we play 1 a week. So you should be able to have a settled 11 now. But now again, we've got injuries with Reece James and Thiago Silva. So you can never have a utopia. This is why I said a while back, you can never have a utopia where everything is perfect. You can never have that. You're going to have to deal with cases when there's going to be adversity. This one, ladies and gentlemen, the wage bill will be reduced if Chelsea don't make UCL on new players' contracts. I think this is one of the stumbling blocks for Mason Mount. And it could potentially be a stumbling block for other players, the new players that have come in. Not just the ones in January, but in summer. Sterling, Koulibaly. These players will get a wage deduction. Us not making it to the Champions League, they're going to lose out on some money. The wage bill will be reduced. This could potentially be another stumbling block for Mason Mount. On top of not getting his desired wage, not getting the terms that he probably wants. So yeah, Reece again, yeah, man. Reece James, hamstring apparently, tightness, even after having a break. Last but not least, Graham Potter has admitted his job is on the line. This is from Matt Law, by the way. So all of that was with Ben Jacobs. Apparently, Graham Potter has admitted that his job is on the line. I just have to accept that and do my best and try to improve the situation we're in until there is a point where we are not able to go forward. That has not been the case, and we keep fighting. So we'll see. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see exactly what happens. But I think we're going to have to come to an agreement or come to a realization. Sorry, that's probably the right word. These owners, they want a certain type of a manager, and that type is they don't want a particular manager that's going to be too outspoken. They want a manager that can compromise, that can negotiate, and as they said, that can collaborate. Because at times maybe they want certain things, to be imposed on the team, and they don't want a particular manager that's against it. Do you know what I mean? And in all honesty, even if we lose against, or if we drop points against Leeds, I think Graham Potter's still going to stick around for Dortmund. These managers, these owners, they really, really believe in Graham Potter. They really believe in him. And if for a certain instance that they're forced to get rid of Graham Potter, they're just going to get someone who's similar like him. They're not going to get anyone different. They're going to get someone who's similar, data-driven, has a WhatsApp group, be part of a WhatsApp group, be part of these strategic plannings and recruitment plannings. So we'll see what happens, man. At this stage, as I said recently, if these results keep going south, it's on the owners now. It's on the owners to do the right thing. I don't think they will. Summer contracts were not like this. If I'm wrong, we'll see. We'll see if any of the summer contracts get affected if we don't make the Champions League. Is these owners too upfront? They're at every game. They need to leave the coaching to the professionals. They know about football and not football. No, you're right. You're right. They're there every time. Reece is not available for Leeds, confirmed by Potter. There you go. Gary Neville was right. We might buy all these players, but the people on top are clueless and playing Football Manager. That's how I feel as well. That's why. See you in a few minutes and chat up the Chelsea. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we'll wrap things up. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash up the like button. Get those likes up to 100. Only 10 more likes left. Hope you've enjoyed this discussion. We'll see you guys for the watch along later on. We'll be starting the stream 1 hour and 5 minutes before the lineup. So 1 hour and 5 minutes before the match starts. So 5 minutes before the lineup is dropped, we'll start the stream. So be there. Make sure you're there. Well over 300 plus people. I want to see all you guys there for the watch along. It's going to be an interesting match. We'll see exactly what happens. We'll see how our team performs. We'll see, from last weekend's defeat, what has the team done? What has the team learned? There's not going to be any Thiago Silva. There's not going to be any Reece James. So you already know there's going to be a makeshift defense. And we'll see. Let's see what the players and the team can do up against Leeds, who are also going to be fighting. Do you know what I mean? They're in the relegation battle. They're fighting for points. So we'll see. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, take care. See ya.